by Daryl Thornton and Miles Borders. The Underground Railroad was neither underground nor a railroad. It was a pathway to freedom for slaves. The term underground means secret and the term railroad means pathway. The Underground Railroad was a vast network of people who helped slaves escape from the South to the North and to Canada. It was not run by any single organization or person.
Passengers on the railroad were part of an elaborate plan that uses disguise, script, and signals hidden in songbirds and ropes. It consists of station masters who ran stations and depots, ticket agents who helped fugitives set up their escape, dispatchers who helped with the routes, and conductors who led their slaves to freedom.
Those who most actively assisted slaves to escape by the way of the railroad were members of the free black community, including former slaves like Harriet Tubman, Northern abolitionists, philanthropists, and church leaders such as Quaker Thomas Garrett. Harriet Beecher Stowe was famous for her novel Uncle Tom's Cabin. She gained first-hand knowledge of flight of fugitive slaves through contacts with the Underground Railroad in Cincinnati, Ohio.
The Underground Railroad efficiently moved hundreds of slaves northward each year, according to one estimate. The South lost about 100,000 slaves between the time period of 1810 and 1850. The network of routes extended through 14 northern states into the promised land of Canada, beyond the reach of the fugitive slavery.
The Fugitive Act in 1850 made it more difficult for slaves to escape. The law forced all of the slaves to be returned to their master even though they were in a free state. After this law was enforced, the new route for the Underground Railroad was all the way to Canada. This made it more difficult for people like Harriet Tubman to transport their slaves from the South. Anthony Burns was a fugitive slave affected by this law. He was returned to his master even though he escaped from Virginia to Boston. Harriet Tubman was one of the best Underground Railroad. She made 19 trips from the South to the North and back. While those 19 trips, she approximately rescued 300 slaves. Even when the Fugitive Act was in place, she never got fired. This Tubman did her job so well that at one point, her reward for capture was 40,000. The system expanded out south from Florida to Texas with new routes leading to Canada. The Underground Railroad branched out to Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Kansas. Travelers moving on the foot under the protection of the night sky were trusted by conductors to follow their plan. These are 23 examples of sites and their stations. For example, Kansas has Johns Brown Cabin, Iowa has Tabor Anti-Slavery History District, and many more.
Here are some pictures of some sites. We have the site of Indiana, Kansas, Illinois, and Pennsylvania.
This is a picture of the way the routes led up to the north or to the south. For example, Texas and Florida go down to countries like Mexico, but other southern states went up to Canada instead.
Here are some pictures of slaves escaping from their masters using the Underground Railroad to escape from the south to the north. Here is a picture of the conductor protecting their slaves to lead them to the north or Canada.
When slavery ended in 1865, there was no more use for the system. The Underground Railroad was an informal network that had many routes. Many routes went to the northern states and after 1850 to Canada. Others went to South or Mexico to the Caribbean. Most actions by people who helped slaves escape were spontaneous actions of generosity. There were women, men, children, white and black. A lot of them were Quakers and Methodists.
Levi Cuffin was known as the president of the Underground Railroad. and his home as the grand station of the Underground Railroad. Underground Railroad stations had secret hideouts such as passages, basements, cellars, and hidden compartments and cupboards where slaves were safely hidden. Under the Fugitive Slave Act, any person who was caught helping a slave escape or offering shelter could be sent to jail for 6 months or subject to a $1,000 fine. Here are some of the sources that we used to create our screencast.
The end.